Hello. Hello. Hi. Can you hear me? Okay, great. So let's do this. Let's start. Okay, so I'm going to suppose that, let me check, so this is working well. Okay, so welcome everybody. Thank you for connecting here to this class. I am Miss Lourdes Uzuriaga, and today we are going to talk about a new topic. So this is something new for us, and I hope you really enjoy it and learn from it because it's something that is very common, and usually we kind of subestimate that and underestimate and don't practice, and sometimes we kind of lose some opportunities to uh, like have new exposure, or maybe meet someone that we were trying to get anything else. Okay, so let's start. Let me share my screen. Okay, so this is okay. So as I told you, today we are going to talk about strategies for writing in the workplace. Okay, so when we work in a company, be it in an office or as a remote worker, or maybe a client abroad or a supplier abroad, uh, most of our communication is written. So we need to take care of it because that's the part that is under our control. So today we're going to see some strategies or tips and hacks that you can apply to improve this skill. Okay, so about me, my name is Lourdes. I studied industrial engineering, but I consider myself as a lifelong learner. I started working in quality, and then I jumped to client services, and then I went to commercial marketing. And besides that, at the same time, as a part-time job, I started as a teacher, then as an instructor, and today I'm an online teacher, online instructor, and I'm also an info product producer. So that's something that I'm really excited about. And well, so I'm not just a teacher, but I also uh, make business and travel. For example, last week I was in Panama and know a lot of people, and I kind of uh, I have a sense of how business are. And with English, you can go wherever you want. So that's something that I'm really I really appreciate to know and to master. So, okay, so let's jump to our learning objective. So today we will be able. What I would like to achieve is that at the end of the session, we will be able to understand the importance of good writing in the workplace and identify good practices so we can apply them, and we can take those into consideration, and it hopefully it will be part of us. Okay, so let's start with really poor business writing samples, okay? And why do I want to start with this? Because we've all been there. You know, when we first started writing in English, or maybe someone hasn't started yet, we are going to go through this, okay? But the important part is that we are conscious about it, and we could identify what we are trying to communicate, and then reflect on it, and then improve it, so we don't repeat it anymore, okay? So that's the main goal about this. So if any of you have been through this, okay, it's okay, we are all humans, but the important part is to not repeat it, okay? So what would be the first mistake here? It would be the subject, okay? Of course, because the subject, it kind of, you kind of understand what they are trying to communicate, but it's not so clear, and it's so short that, you know, nobody's going to open that email. So, and from what I see from here, that person, uh, I'm talking about Gabriel, she doesn't know Bob pretty much. So for Bob, it's like a first email, a new email from us, from someone he doesn't know. So you really have to make a great impression at the beginning, so they can open your email. So in this case, I wouldn't bet that it will be well received. Okay, so she says, hey Bob, you know, it's like, hey Bob, he's someone new for you, and you write like, hey Bob, it's like too informal. We talk a couple weeks at the Chamber of Commerce events. So in that case, Chamber of Commerce, it should have a capital letter because it's a name, okay? And then she starts like a long sentence, and she puts the LOL. So this is not what's up. It's wrong. And she's like writing like she's wondering what, like the other mistake that I identify here is like sometimes we write as like the same way we think, and you know, our mind is like monkey, you know, our mind like wanders and jumps from one place to another. But when we write, that's the moment when we order our ideas, and we build uh, uh, an affirmation, or we identify the cause and the effect, the order, and all of that. So I would bet that this person, she just wrote that and she didn't review that email. So it was like, you know, I'm going to open my cell phone and just send this email right away, and I don't care about that. You know, that's the feeling that Gabrielle is showing, like when she sends that. Okay, so we have to avoid that. So second paragraph, I'd really like to come work for you. So there's a word missing there. You seem like a cool person to work for. okay, like a cool person is like an informal way to talk to people, or to write to people that you already have some kind of trust, so some kind of closeness. Okay, like cool person, it wouldn't be something that I include in an email. So I like your street pants, so that's wrong. And that your, like the U and the R, like here, let me see, I think I have here, like, I was talking about this, like your street pants, so informal. I'm available to start working on Monday, but I'm taking my driver's test in June and I have to study and go. So she is telling all her life to this person. So the email is too long. So it has too much information, and then I see here like, oh my God, it's terrible. So this is also wrong. And then like I attach my resume. It's the bomb.com, like what? Bomb? Like what are you doing? What are you saying? Let me know if you have a job opening. So it's like you just write something and ask for it. You cannot ask something if you don't offer something, because it's like strange. People don't like to be like beaten, or like just ask and you don't offer. So that professionally, that's not a good way. Like peace out, from other class that we have had. Here we have to say something like regards. So this is wrong. It should be something like regards. Okay, regards. And well, there are many many things here that are wrong. So this is a first example. So let's jump to the second example. Let's close this. Okay, so here I have two. Oh, troubles. Okay. So here we have the second example, like from Steve Thomas. Okay, CC every single human Steve has ever. Okay, so this example is trying to do, and I've been a victim of this sometimes. Okay, it's like, you go to an event and you know someone, and that person has your card. So now they've got your email, and they want to like establish a connection with you and all of that. But sometimes, you have like a big, a great email, like something funny, or like a meme, or a video, I don't know. And the first email that that your new contact receives from you is an email about funny pictures, funny pictures. So that would be like the first impression that I got from that person that I haven't heard, never, like never. So that's not a good example, because that's not the proper way to start a relationship. You have to start small, but very clear, very respectful, not invading the other person's space, which is their email. So this is not okay. And then like using these phrases, I don't know, like, oh my God, so that's just for WhatsApp. Okay, so that's not like a formal business or professional email. So let me close this and let's go to the third example of drawings. Okay, so from Trisha Marcus to Alison Brown. Subject, today's meeting. Okay, so we assume that we are talking about people who have a lot of things to do and they are very busy, and you know, they want to like have like a little teaser about the communication just looking at the subject. Okay, so if I send you an email and you have many meetings, you have many new people that you meet, or maybe, I don't know, different matters, like the subject today's meeting is too general, because every meeting has objectives. Okay, so there is a common interest between two parts to reserve time and, you know, connect and use that time for a purpose. And today's meeting is Maria. So you see, hey Allison, so okay, I'm looking forward to seeing you today. So in this case, this is an email about, so this is an email that Trisha sends to Allison before the meeting. So I've attached the materials needed for our discussion. Let me know if you have any questions. Okay. So the other thing that comes to my mind that is kind of strange is this part, because, you know, like calling yourself a marketeer extraordinaire, it's strange, you know. Who says you are a marketer extraordinaire? It's not something up to you to say it, you know. So it's like, I don't know, this person may be not so transparent or not so, I don't know, I'm not confident about working with this person because she makes her, she names herself as a marketer extraordinaire, and then if you continue reading this, you see this like phrase like, be so good they can ignore you. You know, it's great, it's true, you know, but put it like a part of an email is like too noisy. It's kind of strange to see someone who is that pushy, you know. So those little details are the ones that at the end make an impression and helps the person decide if the person is trustworthy or not. So think about it. Okay, so let's jump to the other part. So now that we have explored the poor examples of professional writing, you know, let's go to the good side, to the part that we want to practice and we want to nurture in you. Okay, so What are the benefits of good writing? I found two benefits. Okay, the first one is that you make a good first impression. In an email, the you just access to the written language. They don't hear your voice. They don't see your face. They don't touch your hand. You know, it's just words, sentences, grammar, and meanings. It's just that. So if they are so limited about reading what you have to say, then you have to be very careful about how to use it because it's the only source of information to make a good impression. Yeah. And the second one is that good writing demonstrates courtesy, you know, like being very detailed and take careful of what you write and say because your words express your mind. Uh, express that shows shows that you are someone who takes care of his or her professional relationships and that helps you. Okay, so let's review 4 ways to improve our business writing. Okay, some of them are related to the poor examples that we saw at the beginning of this class. So it's very connected to that. First, take extra time. In many cases, a person can improve their writing by taking extra time to compose messages and then proofreading. Workers should not treat business communication as course to be completed as quickly as possible, but as projects in their own right. When possible, it is advisable to write important letters and emails at least a few hours before they are to be sent out, to allow the writer to take a break from the piece and then review it with fresh eyes. Okay, so what we learn from this is that we don't have to send something at the first time. You know, you write and then you pause, you review, you improve it. And if it's not enough for you, you take a break, you take some times, and then you get back with fresh eyes. Okay, that's why here we recommend to start writing few hours before the deadline. Okay, and if you don't have too much time, well, at least an hour, and then you take like 10 times, you do something else, you like forget about it, and then you read it again like a fresh person who has never seen that text, and then you're going to improve it. But always you have to send it after second review at least. Okay, use a grammar checker. So this is pretty easy because now Word has a grammar checker, be it in your language or English or anything. Okay, so you really have this tool which is free that is going to help you identify those little mistakes that you may have and then be more confident about what you write, how you write, and what you send. Okay, so word processing software usually includes a grammar checker. That's what we said. But there are standalone programs that can offer provide more robust proofreading and feedback to even greater clarity. So that this second part is mostly for professional writers, okay? Because it's going to go deep into not just the word, but also the grammar, the sentence, how they use some phrases, etc., etc. But that's not something that we would need because I assume that we like write, but it's not the main part of our job. Ask for feedback, okay? Uh, After writing a particularly important letter or email, it may be good idea for an employee to ask his manager or a colleague to look over the piece and give feedback. Yeah, this is great. Mostly we don't work alone, okay? And usually our minds don't have all the possible how could I say, or the possible understandings from different types of people. So like proving our words with other one is going to help us identify which part wouldn't be so clear, and it's going to help us highlight that part and focus our time and effort improving some words or a phrase, or maybe extending the explanation, etc. So yeah, we are not alone. We the collaborative work is always better because you have more than two eyes to see your work. And then you help your colleague with the same part, and both are going to be better together. Okay? 4, get tutoring or take a class. Okay, so this like the really, really advanced tip. There are many options for improving one's writing skills through educational programs. Community colleges and adult education programs offer courses in business writing, and many of those courses can be taken online. Okay, so if you want to take your skills to a whole new level, there are professional writers and professional editing people who do this 24 hours, and if part of your product or your proposal has a lot of efforts based on the text, I strongly recommend to hire someone or ask for a consultancy check, because it's going to be a lot of work and it's not just a minor check. Okay, so now let's go to the tips. And these tips are going to help us improve our writing in English. So I selected these tips so we can cover all the parts or all the possible application of our business writing. Okay, be it if you are going to apply to a job, if you are in a business related company or exports and you have to talk with clients abroad, or maybe you have to translate something, etc. Okay. So first, when you describe your skills, your job, and your accomplishment, you have to use or apply action verbs, okay? Not all the English verbs are action verbs, okay? That's why you have to look for what are the action verbs and then put it in your paragraph so they express a more dynamic person, because that's what the companies are looking for, someone who can do and deliver results, okay? The verbs are the energy, so the verbs are going to be the part of your paragraph that is going to give life to your story, to your description, okay? The verbs are the pivot point of the sentence. So strong verbs have a real punch, okay? So let's compare these two. I'm going to put it, yeah, this is better. So first, the famous strong verb example by Julius Caesar, Beni Vidi Vici, which is I came, I saw, I conquer, okay? But as business speak, someone would say something like, I was in attendance and I conducted a review of the situation and culture and I made recommendation for acquisition. Okay, so this is too passive, like a passive voice. It sounds at least like a passive voice because it was like, I was in attendance. Why not I attended? So I conducted a review. You review. So just the verb review. And the second is like longer, more boring, and it is more difficult for our brain to process the idea. But the first one is much better if we want to make a great first impact. So tip 2, the prime questions when you start to prepare your text, okay? So before you write anything, you have to ask yourself 2 questions. Who is my reader? And what do I want this reader to know or do, okay? If you cannot answer these 2 questions, stop. Don't write the document because it has no purpose. So this is a great advice, you know. I've been struggling with this for some days because sometimes people just do something because they have to do it. But most of the time we do something because it's going to help another person. And if you don't show that empathy, that connection with the reader, your time and effort are not going to help too much because your foundation is very weak and you don't have the empathy necessary to make it through. So tip 3, start when it is easiest. Okay, so this is for the very complicated people. You know, sometimes I'm kind of that. You know, this is such a liberating advice because we are kind of in school. We've learned that we have to begin in the first part always, you know, and we sometimes suppose that everything is a sequence, but in writing, not everything is a sequence. At least our minds don't always think or create ideas in a sequence. So why should we write in a sequence, okay? So start writing a document, but not always at the first sentence, okay? Usually the first sentence is the hardest sentence to write because you have this blocking situation that most of the writers go through, and then it's harder. But if you begin writing, you are going to start to interconnect your thoughts, and then it will be much easier. Okay, so here it says, once you begin writing, the interconnectivity of thoughts will ignite. So you just start doing something, and then your ideas are going to arrange themselves, and they are going to connect, and you are going to go through and like advance faster, and the rest of the document will be easier to write. Great. So tip 4, start where it is easiest. So this is the same part that we had here. Okay, so like this should be tip 4. So here I'm going to just correct this. Okay, avoid redundancy. Okay, what is this all about? You have to avoid redundant verb modifiers, and here we have an example. So it says, Damian shouted loudly at Clarissa after she missed the deadline. And then Damian shouted at Clarissa after she missed the deadline. Okay, so the good one, what it is correct in this case is the second one. So this is the right one. And why is that? Because the verb shout is speaking very loudly. So if you say shouted loudly, it's like you are repeating the idea. So that's why the second is the correct one. Okay, so so let's jump to the conclusions. These types of errors, what we have reviewed, occur for a variety of reasons. But as we've illustrated, bad communication in business is at the heart. So ensuring that you plan, write, and especially revise effectively and efficiently can prevent such errors. Okay, so it is very important that you understand that you should assume that when you write, you are going to make mistakes. Okay, so unless you are not a professional writer, your first attempt is going to have mistakes. So don't worry about it. The important here is that you revised, review, and understand what is missing and what you have to correct. And mostly, how is it closer or not from what you want to communicate. That's why we thought we mentioned that if you don't know who are you going to write to, like this, if you don't know who is your reader, at what do they want to know or do with what you communicate, it's going to be useless to start writing. Okay? Great. So here I'm going to show the survey and the test that you have to make for this class. Okay, so this is the link. And let me put it in our chat. Chat. Here it is. Okay, so please help us improve this session, and myself as an online trainer, which is something that I'm very happy to do. And well, so that's what I wanted to share with you, and I hope that all that we have reviewed can help you in any time that you start, continue, and finish a professional paragraph, like an email, a letter, a curriculum, an essay, and anything else. Okay? So those are our references. And so, remember, this was our class about strategies for writing in the workplace. And we reviewed some bad examples, some poor examples, so we can improve and learn from it. Okay? So thank you very much for connecting to this class. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope to see you next class. Okay? Have a great week. See you. Bye.